Well, hi there. Warm welcome. You're watching Blueprint Explosive Exclusive, and I'm Meghna Deka. Now, viewers, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump was at the White House yesterday for a formal meeting with the incumbent President Biden. The pair addressed the media in a very short interaction from the Oval Office, assuring a peaceful transition. In fact, the White House visit came at a time when the Republicans have also confirmed a majority in the U.S. Senate and the House of Representatives, which means that Trump will wield enormous power once his presidency begins early next year. In fact, in the meantime, he's been busy assembling his cabinet, and there have been some very significant appointments. But first, let's hear what exactly it is that Biden and Trump said when they held their, many said, awkward meeting in the White House. Watch this.
Well, Mr. President-elect and former President and Donald, congratulations. And looking forward to having a, like we said, smooth transition. Do everything we can to make sure you're accommodated, what you need. And we're going to get a chance to talk about some of that today. So
good.
Welcome.
Thank you
Back.
very much. And thank you very much. And politics is tough, and it's in many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate it very much. A transition that's so smooth, it'll be as smooth as it can get, and I very much appreciate that, Jim.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
So let's take a look at the Trump cabinet so far. Matt Gaetz, well, he is going to be the Attorney General, while longtime aide Susie Wiles, you can see her on her screens as well, will be his Chief of Staff. Marco Rubio, who we have spoken about last week as well, is, of course, someone who has memorably ran against Trump in 2016 Republican race, is now going to be Trump's Secretary of State and America's top diplomat. Former veteran and television news anchor Pete Hegseth will be the Secretary of Defense, so the 2+2 dialogues will henceforth involve him and Mark Rubio. In the headline appointments, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, they are going to be leading the Department of Government Efficiency, or the DOGE, and have already stated their target of reducing up to $2 trillion from government inefficiency. So coming to the security-related picks and agencies, Tulsi Gabbard. Now, that's going to be an interesting pick. She will be the U.S. Director of National Intelligence. The CIA Director, John Ratcliffe, will be reporting to her. Kristi Noem, she will be the Secretary of Homeland Security, while Mike Waltz is the National Security Advisor, and Elise Stefanik is the U.S. envoy to the UN. Finally, there is going to be Mike Huckabee, who is a very pro-Israel voice. He is going to be U.S.'s envoy to Israel. Well, there is much to indicate from these appointments that this is a very pro-India cabinet. While Mark Rubio has been unabashedly pro-India in his political endeavors so far, Vivek Ramaswamy has, of course, been a steadfast supporter and speaking about his Hindu roots, and a steadfast supporter to the Indian American community. And not to forget that the incoming Second Lady of the U.S., Usha Vance, she is also of Indian origin. However, it is Tulsi Gabbard's appointment to the Trump cabinet that has drawn the most interest. In fact, as the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi will be heading the U.S. intelligence community. That means that the heads of the CIA and the NSA, America's most prominent intelligence agency, will all be reporting to her alongside the various other intel chiefs. She will be reporting directly to President Trump and also briefing the Congress from time to time when required. So now, Tulsi Gabbard has had an outstanding political and military career already. It is perhaps her Hindu credentials that bode best for India. Listen in to her express herself as a practicing Hindu.
Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Now please join me now as we chant the names of Krishna together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Please chant.
let's take a look at Tulsi Gabbard's profile. Well, she was born in American Samoa and raised in Hawaii. In 2002, she became the youngest ever to be elected to the Hawaiian legislature. In fact, long before this, she had already taken up embraced Hinduism. She was raised as a Hindu after her mother embraced Hinduism. Remember, she's not known to have Hindu heritage per se, and her Hinduism is attributed to her mother. She joined the US military following the 9/11 attacks, and then she was deployed at combat positions in Iraq as well. She's also served in Kuwait and has risen to the rank of Lieutenant Colonel. She's been a 4-time US Congresswoman, the first from Hindu faith and the first of American Samoan origin. You'll be somewhat surprised to know that till 2022, she was a Democrat. Yes, that's right. She even contested against Joe Biden in the 2020 Democratic primaries. She left the party, however, and amid increasing Republican leanings, was mentioned in the context of being Trump's VP pick in this year's elections. In fact, apart from Trump, she also has good ties with Prime Minister Modi. In fact, when she visited US for the first time as the Prime Minister, when he had visited US rather, Tulsi Gabbard had met him. She even gifted Prime Minister Modi a Bhagavad Gita. Well, she regularly has backed India and US ties. In fact, you can see the visuals of 2019 meeting with Prime Minister Modi. Earlier too, in 2014, she had met Prime Minister Modi and had gifted him this Bhagavad Gita. She has been, on account of being a Hindu, been accused in some of the liberal media circles of backing right-wing in India, but has always laughed off these claims, citing that her interest in India is cultural and religious, not political. Well, that having been said, Tulsi has made it a point to call on Prime Minister Modi whenever he's visited the US. 2014, as you can see on your screens, later on again in 2019 as well.
Yes.
My sister.
Vrindavan.
Yes. Very well done.
You have not visited India.
She's not yet been.
Most welcome.
I hope your stay here is going well.
मैं आपका बहुत आभारी हूँ. आपने बहुत बढ़िया वीडियो संदेश दिया. तो भारत में बहुत वायरल हुआ.
Thank you.
In fact, in 2013, Tulsi Gabbard took oath as a lawmaker on the Bhagavad Gita as well. Watch this moment.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that you take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which you are about to enter. So help you God.
I do.
Then, congratulations.
I choose to be an optimist and understand, not naively, but understand that with these challenging times, therein lies the great opportunity. It's the opportunity for myself to be introspective, to look into my own heart and understand that I'm here in this position at this time to work for each and every one of you. And what an incredible privilege that is.
And when it comes to detractors who would try to corner her over her Hindu faith, or more pertinently over being friendly with Prime Minister Modi, here's how she answered a reporter who questioned her over the Gujarat riots.
Modi, of course, back in 2002 was the chief minister of Gujarat, and many consider him to be complicit in the deadly 2002 Gujarat riots that lowballed about 1,000 people died.
Do you know what instigated those riots?
We all looked at the phone.
Well, today we are being joined by Radha Raman Das. He's the Vice President of ISKCON, an organization that Tulsi Gabbard has been very closely associated with. We'll also be joined by Christopher Hale, a Democratic strategist. I'm going to go first across to Radha Raman Das. We've just seen her commitment to Hinduism, but lesser known facts. Many people don't know she also very actively promoted World Yoga Day. She had extended full support, and the kind of statements that she had made at the time that yoga is not just about religion. In fact, she had said very categorically that yoga transcends physical exercise. It serves as a lifestyle, consciousness and worldview. She's also a strong proponent, isn't she, Mr. Radha Raman Das, of the Vedic way of life.
First of all ISKCON members are very, very happy that she has been selected by Donald Trump for such high coveted cabinet rank position. And actually, her whole family is Vaishnav family. She is a grand disciple of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is the founder Acharya of ISKCON.
Okay.
And her mother, she was a devotee of ISKCON. And
yes.
she is also she is disciple of Siddha Swarupanand, who is disciple of Srila Prabhupada, ISKCON founder Acharya. So as you were playing the clip, you can see she's chanting Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So Prabhupada is the founder Acharya of ISKCON. And you know that when she was in Iraq, in the war zone, she always carried Bhagavad Gita. And every day she reads Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
She also chants Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day. Actually, every ISKCON devotee who are initiated, they have to chant 2 hours Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So this is like Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So this is the mantra. So for 2 hours, every ISKCON devotee chants. So she also chants. And whenever, like in 2015, like there was a program, a Golden Jubilee of Jaladut Yatra. So I has contacted her and requested video matches for the occasion. And she has made 5-minute such a beautiful video message. And around devotees from 180 countries came to Kolkata. And we all saw and everybody appreciated the deep emotion in which she says things. So she is a practicing Vaishnavi, Hindu, Sanatani. First, we have to understand that. And America is such a fortunate country that practicing, dharmic person is, he is going to be in the cabinet. And any person who is dharmic, devoted,
right.
He or she will bring best thing for their country.
Absolutely. That's very beautifully put. Thank you so much, Radha Raman Das, for putting all of this into perspective and into the context of how Tulsi Gabbard has grown up having embraced ISKCON. In fact, let me go across to Christopher Hale as well. Christopher Hale, this change in the regime of US is coming in amidst several very important strategic changes that we have seen across the world, and it gains a lot of significance. For example, when it comes to Bangladesh, the way that there have been targeted attacks on Hindus there, Tulsi Gabbard has already spoken about it. She talked about the violent mobs who are targeting the Hindu communities during the Durga Puja. In the past, she's talked about religious tolerance. Those are the kind of principles that she's spoken of. But now, interestingly, we have seen Tulsi Gabbard having switched from the Democratic ranks onto the Republican ones. What do we expect from here onwards?
You know, it's interesting. Yes, as recently as 2020, Tulsi Gabbard ran for president of the United States as a Democrat. She was the vice chair of the Democratic Party up to 2017. I will say this, my party has intense skepticism with over Tulsi Gabbard, particularly with her relationships with Russia. After President Trump was elected the first time in 2016, she went to Syria and had a meeting with Bashar al-Assad, later said that he did not commit genocide against the Syrian people. And so I think that there is, chemical warfare against the Syrian people. So I think there is concern about her loyalties, where they lie. I do think it is noteworthy, though, her ties to Hinduism and also the Indian ties just throughout this election. Of course, we have Kamala Harris, the first Indian American of Indian heritage to run for president of the United States. So I think it's interesting. I think that what we're seeing, though, in both of these administrations in the United States writ large is we've spent, we're of European origin, in terms of our heritage, but really really this past 15 years in particular, America is looking west, is looking to Asia, and so I think it is remarkable. And I think her appointment continues that tradition.
In fact, that's very interesting because, of course, that is going to be reflecting in the way that she assumes office and moves on from here onwards. But then the fact that there has been a change in her allegiances, there are those who are supporting Tulsi Gabbard who says that she was actually a victim of a witch hunt by the Democratic and the Liberal circle. She was also put on a watch list.
And I think that is so. Yes, I think that what my party would claim, or what the government might claim, is that's because of her ties to Vladimir Putin and Bashar al-Assad. I don't have the particularities of why she was monitored by the United States government, but I think this is really what's
she was tagged a Russian spy.
Say it again.
She was tagged a Russian spy.
So I don't think the U.S. government actually itself tagged her as Russian spy. Now, some in my party would argue that. I wouldn't go that far. Famously, she was accused of being a Russian asset by our former nominee, Hillary Clinton. I do think that was probably too harsh, too harsh of paintbrush to put on her. But I do think there is questions. Like, I want to understand more what her reasoning behind going to Syria was and meeting with Bashar al-Assad. She claims it was because she doesn't want the warmongering histrionics of my party to continue, and perhaps there's something there. But I think there's a difference between being a proponent of peace and also siding with terrorists, with enemies. Bashar al-Assad, in the American worldview, is a terroristic tyrant. He commits chemical warfare. He hurts his own people. So I think it really caused concern in my party, and maybe among the neoconservatives as well in the Republican Party, why she took these meetings. So I better want to understand that. I think what's remarkable is Tulsi Gabbard was not the most controversial appointment. Really, within 5 minutes after naming Tulsi Gabbard, his director of national intelligence, Donald Trump named Matt Gaetz his attorney general. And so actually, strangely, in the United States, Tulsi Gabbard's appointment is probably lower in the news cycle than it is in India. So we're more focused, I think, in the United States on the appointment of Matt Gaetz. So I do think that Tulsi Gabbard is lucky that she'll come in under the radar.
Oh, that's going to be an interesting one to watch out for. Of course, Christopher Hale, we are going to be tracking the developments very closely, believe it or not, here in India as well. Of course, there have been deep ties, strategic ties, historic ties between the two nations. But what will this new dispensation mean going forward? Well, we are going to be tracking that very closely. Thank you so much, Christopher Hale, for joining us here on Times Now.